Karen Walsek. Karen's book, Waken the Lambs, is the story of a modern woman named Mary, whose fervent desire is to make mothering a heroic act. She is the ultimate mother, and the lessons she imparts to readers of the book are groundbreaking and invaluable. But a sideline to the story of her life to this story is the story of her life as the mother of the next Messiah. It's an important book and a revolutionary one. It is a book that will make mothering accepted as the heroic act it should be. Congratulations, Kate.
I didn't write anything. And I had this idea, and being at Goddard is like milking a cow. And I realized that being a suburban kid who went back to the farm, where a lot of the real life experiences of being on a farm and having all these animals ended up in my novel, it was miraculous to milk a cow. You had to feed the thing every day, okay? And then if you want the thing to stand still, you had to give it real special treats. And so you give the corn or the grain or the real special treats. And then you had to convince it not to kick you when you were milking. And there were all these things that sort of like this whole, oh no. And you had to convince the dog not to talk to the other dog. But there was this whole series of patterns you went through to create the perfect milking experience. And then when we finally got it to work, I'd be sitting there in the cold, because you had to get up whether it was raining or cold or freezing, and it does get cold in Tennessee in the wintertime. And you had to get up, you had no choice. If you didn't milk this cow was going to be miserable, and it was dependent upon you to do it. Just do it, just do it. And sometimes I would procrastinate. I'd be like drinking 5 cups of coffee and say, okay, I'm going to go out in the barn and do it now. You know? And so it's the same thing with our writing. I mean, we procrastinate. I mean, we have to set up all the little rituals to go out and do it, and we have to do it. There's no choice. We really, really do. But the last thing of why I thought milking a cow was a lot like being at Goddard is that when I went out there and it was all perfect, and there was straw filled in the stall, and it was quiet, no one was awake yet, and it was me and this cow. And I put my head against her leg, because I'm down here milking, and I could just lean against her and smell her cow smell, and her fur, that was, if it's fur, I guess it's fur, her hide was really soft. And I'd be squirt, 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 and I would get in the bucket. And I thought to myself, my God, people have been milking cows since just beyond hunter-gatherer. I mean, agriculture has been something that has been with us. Our grandparents, back in the hills, way, way, way from the beginning of the beginning. And I felt connected. I felt connected through time. I could be living in anywhere with this me and the cow. And Goddard is like that. It's a legacy. We are connected. Graduates who are here who graduated before and have come back, thank you. You know this is a legacy. And when we go out in the world, it'll be
Next, I'd like to welcome to the front of the room Paula, Rusty Childers, and Greg Coma to be introduced by their advisor, Amy Lou.
poignant journey through grief. It's also a meta-narrative that captures Paula's anguished process of writing a memoir about her first year after losing her mother in real time as she is living that first year after losing her mother. But more to the point, this is no ordinary mother. Diane, aka Ma, is so much larger than life that she regularly interrupts Paula's narrative through insistent footnotes that deliver her side of the story and punctuate her daughter's mourning with humor. Ma, after all, beat Joan Rivers in an amateur open mic comedy challenge when she was just 17. Since she and Paula are closest twins, the permanence of their separation after Diane's accidental death takes some time to sink in. This memoir itself becomes an instrument of acceptance, as Paula's voice and her mother's duel for page space, clarity, and attention. The memoir is also something of a travelogue, as Paula carries her grief back and forth from Utah to various points around Asia, where she feels as dislocated geographically as she does emotionally. Fort Worth even makes an appearance in this book, as Paula weaves her struggles as a Goddard MFA student writing a memoir into her memoir. The net result is a brave work that's as funny as it is sad, as smart as it is original. Diane would be very, very proud, and Paula, you should be too.
So I brought props as well, because my speech is practice and it'll probably suck. But as you can see, my shirt says, I am awesome. And I want us to all say it together on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I am awesome! Okay, so the whole point of this is we are awesome. And this idea is what got me through grad school. It's just something instilled in me, not necessarily that I'm awesome, but that I deserve this, I'm willing to go the distance, I can do it. And so I want to stress this to all of you guys that are still at Goddard, or just writers in general, because I think even us graduates need to remember that we need to believe in ourselves. And the only reason I have I am awesome on my shirts is the one I could find to buy. But this was a lesson that I learned from my mom. And when she died, I thought, well, I'm not going to believe in myself anymore because I don't have my biggest cheerleader. But what I realized she gave me was the belief in myself, that anything is possible, you can do it, you need the hard work, you need to put in the hard work, but you also need to surround yourself with people who also believe that you're awesome. So I know that we Goddarites are here because we have people who love us and who believe in us. And they are our biggest cheerleaders besides ourselves. So basically, I stand here as the first in my family, my maiden family, to go to grad school. So I feel like that's a pretty big deal. That was pretty big. So I just want to, I'm not going to cry again, just I want to thank my friends. You guys have just been so freaking awesome. And I want to thank the faculty and staff because I got eviscerated several times and I loved it. I know you guys for more. And I want to thank my in-laws because without your support, I wouldn't be here. And most important in my life, I want to thank my husband, my baby's daddy, and that's Ben. So thank you everyone and believe in yourself.
Rusty Childers' Dragon Lines is a powerful thriller set in China in the near future. His heroine, Matrika Devaki, is a British spy of English and Indian descent whose ability to converse with spirits is both a blessing and a curse. For example, the ghost of her grandfather, a veteran of the Secret Intelligence Service, watches over her but also drives her in this legal line of work. When the story opens, Matrika has been exiled to China as punishment for her failure to prevent the assassination of the British prince. A seemingly mundane lead soon puts her on the trail of the notorious gangster Blackmouth, who in turn brings her face to face with a living demon named Song, who is plotting to blow up the Three Gorges Dam. With millions of innocent lives at stake, Matrika must navigate the treacherous rivers of both the spirit world and the physical world to expose a crime whose roots stretch back through 100 years of Asian history. But as exotic as this plot may sound, Rusty has also done a beautiful job of authenticating his story with riveting portraits of China's cities, landscapes, people, and problems. His characters frequent restaurants where dozens of families chat at a shout, and strangers speak with jazz hands. The descriptions of expatriates who teach and try to exploit this foreign country are particularly acute, as are the phrases and confusions that emerge when English and Chinese speakers collide. And through the intercession of the spirits, Rusty has found an engrossing way to layer in the legacy of betrayal, greed, and corruption, the dragon lines that have defined China's past and continue to shape its future. Congratulations.
I'm going to keep it short and simple because I'm not really good at this part. Thank you, faculty, for being badass. Particularly Amy and Ryan and Micheline for helping me make this work at all. And the staff, Lori and Joyce and Paula and everybody, Aaron, for letting us work here, making this happen. Things we'd all float off into ether sometimes if you guys weren't around to make sure things are working. And my family and friends for supporting me always, even when we didn't agree, and for sheltering me from having to go back to Asia again. So I don't have to do that anymore. And hello, Butternuts. You're part of that family now. I'm going to miss you. We have to be reunions, seriously. Thank you.
Gregory Comer's Doodler's Run is, in the words of his second reader, Victoria Nelson, an epic black comedy and western, wrapped in a coming-of-age story about a lost, aimless, but resilient boy during the westward expansion. Deuteronomy Jesudas Seavey, also known as Deuter, is a 14-year-old orphan with just enough sense to piece together the truth about the madmen and madams whose company keeps him until it doesn't and he's forced to find his own direction. This rogues gallery includes the creators of Rail Stop, Montana, a town built to cheat the oncoming railroad out of a tidy sum in exchange for its right-of-way. The local brothers Madam, Christian sisters, telegraph operator, merchants, and politicians all are in on the act, and all willing to double and triple cross each other and Deuter in the process. Their antics make for one rip-roaring ride, but Comer's narrative never devolves into farce. Deuter's voice rings with too much authentic humanity for that, and the plot resonates with historical accuracy. When you finish reading this novel, you realize that Frank Comer has produced a book that deserves to be shelved proudly between Charles Portis's True Grit and Michael Ondaatje's collected works of Billy the Kid. It really is that original, that funny, and that powerful.
Something, but I couldn't. I literally could not. I guess my desire line goes back to when I was just a little kid, writing comic books, and my hero of my stories was named Buddy, and they were really bad. But I just kept wanting to write and wanting to write, and I've done a lot of really fascinating things in life, and there was always this lack. And now I can tell you for the first time, and thanks to all of you, that at least for the next 10 minutes or so, I'm at peace.